Okay. So, hello, guys. Welcome to episode 10 of, I don't know, I call it This Week in Churning. I call it travel hacking. I kind of change it up every week, what I actually label it as. I try to change up the labels not only to get people interested, you know, obviously anybody coming from Reddit is going to know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to, make the title something that maybe somebody who's just navigating through Blab, when they see travel hacking and they see, travel in the world for free, they kind of get a little, oh, what's that all about? So they click and might watch it that way. So that's why I change up the name of the show every once in a while. But this is episode 10 of the same thing I talk about every week, and that is just kind of recapping the week of credit card churning, any news, big topics, things like that. So welcome everybody who's here, and we'll go ahead and get started. And the first thing I got to talk about, of course, is the American Express Platinum Card. If anybody here has not seen that deal, shame on you. The front page of churning, the American Express Platinum Personal Card jumped up to 100,000 points with a $3,000 spend. Important notes are the card is once a lifetime, so if you've had the Platinum Card in the past, you do not qualify to get it again. You qualify to get the card again, not the bonus. So if you had the bonus in the past, you do not qualify to get that. The $450 annual fee for the card is due up front, but the airline reimbursements can kind of cover that cost. You get $200 this year, you'll get another $200 in January, so it makes up for it there. 100,000 points worth about $2,000, so it's a big deal. I think the Platinum Card usually sits around 40,000, 50,000, somewhere around there. Occasionally goes up to 75. 100,000 offer really never comes around. Last year it was around for maybe 2 days. This year probably going to be about the same. We don't really know yet. I always think like the way that these deals are found is like a hidden link somehow or other. Credit goes to Chet Hazel Eyes, who brought it up on the first post here, but you can kind of see what he says. Went through a little bit of a process to get there, and eventually load up the offer. So I think that like these offers are usually the hidden links, and then once they get exposed, they get shut down pretty quickly. So I don't expect the offer to be around for all too long. A lot of people who are, I don't know if anybody's going to be watching this show, who just signed up for it, may not know what to do with some membership reward points or Amex rewards. Why they're so valuable, and how you can get the value out of them. So there's a couple things you can do. They're nice to transfer out to British Airways Avios, so for short haul flights, and you can also get some decent deals through different airlines. The One World partners through there. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but look that up. Or British Airways transfers are really nice. Singapore Suites, of course, is one of the big redemptions. If you want to fly first class, you can use 100,000 points toward Singapore Suites. And then not only that, but you can also transfer, thank you points, SPG. I think you can transfer all four programs. So the thank you points, the SPG, and the UR points to Singapore. So that 100,000 gets you a long way in redeeming a Singapore Suite class. So really nice redemption there. And there are other nice, even Hilton. I know people frown upon Hilton. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in the show in my point evaluation section. But you can transfer like 10,000 points on membership rewards over to Hilton and stay in the category 1 3 nights. So don't always think big when it comes to these properties. You can kind of think small. Hilton has some, I'm not gonna say they're nice category ones, but they have at least fair ones. And if you're kind of like the person who wants to go on a budget, 3 nights for 10,000 points is a really nice redemption. So that's a couple different ways you can redeem the points. I think the points are. The card itself is really a no-brainer. It's you have to apply. Absolutely terrific value you're going to get out of it. It's basically close to a free $2,000. So if you don't have the Platinum Card, if you can float that $450, absolutely recommend you do it, because that card is great. The offer will not be around. I can promise you that. It won't. If it's around a week, I would be absolutely floored. I'm expecting it to be around a couple of days, just like it was previously. I'm trying to bring up my my notes, I started with my point evaluations and kind of talking about some of that and, going from there. So give me one quick moment. I should have had all the stuff ready, but I'm never prepared. So what about the American Express Platinum and Platinum Mercedes-Benz in succession? Okay, so somebody else mentioned that in the comments. I'll discuss that now just since we're on topic. Here's the reason I don't do it. Because the Platinum card has such great benefits. Okay, so you're going to get things like the Centurion Lounge, the roadside assistance, the SPG Gold, global entry, things like that. So the Platinum card has a lot of great benefits. So I don't recommend applying for them in short succession just because I try to space out those benefits year after year. Now, I say that this is my third one in 2 years, but there's no real reason to jump on it. I think the 100,000 offer will be around again, and somebody's going to find a loophole to get it again. So I recommend trying to space them out as much as you can, just so you can prolong those benefits. I don't expect turning to be around forever, but if I can hold a Platinum card for the next 5 years, just to get me through my airport lounges, and I said just SPG Gold alone would be pretty nice. So it's almost a little bit better that you hold off on those. It's not a bad deal there. And then as I'm not sure, Dave. I always just call you Dave. I don't know why I do, but that's just how I've always. I don't know. I think like the first time I read your name was just Dave, so it's probably Dav. But okay, see, not too bad. As he just mentioned in the chat, you do have to look out for that financial review. Can happen if you get the Platinum card and you start, putting you don't have to put a lot of money on it quickly. Some people they make a couple purchases and they get financial reviewed. I think the most important thing for people watching the show and people listening to the recording is when it comes to American Express especially, don't lie on your application. The financial review is really nothing to be concerned about. It's just Amex kind of checking up on things, wanting to make sure that you're truthful and that you can support the level of money that they gave you on their cards. So as long as you're truthful in your application and you can send in your tax reports or whatever else they request to prove your income levels are close to what you said, you're going to be fine. There's many stories of people who said, I made $100,000 when they only made $50,000. But they told the financial review guy, yeah, but I'm actually getting a new job. I'm going to be and that worked fine. I don't think the FRs or like the financial reviews are really that big of a deal, but it is something definitely to be concerned about. And I guess not concerned, but be knowledgeable about and just kind of expect that it could happen. It's always better to be prepared and kind of be caught off guard by some of that stuff. And then is the Platinum card worth it? Where there's no Centurion Lounges? Yes, that's a no-brainer. I don't like Centurion Lounges. I've only went to one, so I can't really say that yet. I only went to one, but it was way crowded. It was way too busy. The food was good. Drinks were good, but not my kind of place. I'd take Admiral's Lounge any day. Is it safe to MS on the American Express Platinum card? Again, yeah, I mean, I don't know where your gift card's at. Kind of depends a lot about that. Nothing really too concerning as long as you're buying your gift cards through like a grocery store or things like that. I don't want to, like I said, I'm going to cut off the topic a little bit about this because I do have a lot of ground to cover with my point evaluation discussion. So we'll go ahead. We'll come back in. We'll swing by the Platinum card here after the show. Usually after the show, I hang out for another 10 or 15 minutes. So if you guys have any questions, for sure, go ahead and bring them at that point. But I'm going to go ahead and change the topic over to my point evaluations. And this is really interesting because the one thing I haven't done with my point evaluations, so I believe it was actually Dave and I on Reddit. We just had a nice little debate going back and forth about, I don't know if it's so much a debate, but a conversation about point worth and everything else. And, everybody knows, at least you should know, if you look up point evaluations, and this is based on, first thing is first, let me explain that a point evaluation is nothing more than what somebody values a point at. You could value an SPG point worth, 3 cents. I could value it at 2.5 cents. It doesn't, there's no like this is what a point is worth value. So the number can fluctuate quite a bit depending on who you talk to. I base off of my spreadsheet, which is mostly based off of the points guy. Hate on me for even mentioning his name. I think he does a really good job at evaluating the points, kind of getting a decent idea on what the cost is. And not only that, but his website is fantastic too. He's got a lot of great content on there. I know that, it's whatever, but out his referrals are cheesy and all that stuff, but the content is solid and the point evaluations are spot on. So let's just assume we're going to use his point evaluations for, everything moving forward. The one thing that, we have to consider when we talk about point evaluations, so we know like SPG, you can transfer out to every single airline, and that makes it an incredibly valuable award card or point, point system, because you can transfer to Korean, I could transfer to Singapore, transfer to American, United. I think United actually is like 2-to-1, but you get my point. Most of the airlines out there, you can transfer to them, which is a very, very powerful thing to have. I'm in the game now for 2 years. I'm just now kind of coming around to how powerful SPG points are. I think when I first got in the game, I looked at American Airlines, for example, and I was like, oh, okay, it cost me X amount of miles to go from here to here. And what I didn't really do is I didn't look at all the different award mile systems out there, like Japan Airlines and Singapore and Korean. If you look at these different airline charts, and you look at where these points can get you to, it may cost you 40,000 miles with American. Let's take Hawaii, for example. If somebody could kind of, gladly fill me in on Hawaii, what is it, 20,000 one way to Hawaii with American Airlines? So 40,000 round trip, 22.5. So 22.5 to Hawaii. So you're talking 45,000 miles round trip. Korean Airlines, it's just a different airline, but their mile system says to get from anywhere in the U.S. to Hawaii round trip is 25,000 miles round trip. So for what American Airlines costs one way, Hawaii or Korean is round trip. And with Korean, you get a stopover, you get a couple extras. So you can see where in that situation, when you're looking at that particular route, Korean Airlines is worth a lot more. So that's where SPG and even UR in this case come in handy, because those points that can be transferred out to these different airlines, maybe Korean's better here, but maybe Singapore is better here, or maybe American is better here, but ANA is better there. So to know all these different charts and everything, there's different tools out there you can use to calculate your miles, but that's where these transferable points really get value out of. Your SPG, thank you points, UR, and I know I'm missing MR, of course, American Express. Those get a lot of their value out of where you can transfer them to. So that's why when I say an SPG point is worth 2.5 cents, I'm not just talking hotel. I'm talking, there's value in the fact that you can kind of transfer those points out there. So what I do, and what I've done this afternoon or this evening here is something I've never really done before. Is I took at least a handful. I grabbed maybe 10 cards, and I looked at what the card gave you, and then what the payout was. So, for example, the Starwood card, the SPG American Express SPG card, it gives you 2.4 cents per point. That's my estimate. That's what I value my points at, 2.4 cents. The American Express card also gives you 1 point for every dollar you spend. Therefore, I can justify, or whatever I can say, the American Express card is a 2.4% cashback card. That's how, that's kind of what I'm doing here, is I'm looking to see what the card is worth and what it gives me in return. The absolute highest card that I found, and I'm not talking rotating categories, I wasn't talking about rotating, and I know that I'm missing some, so you guys have to be a little bit patient here, but if you see something, you guys can, for sure, type it in. But one of the nice ones is the American Express Blue Cash Preferred, and they have the OBC, the Old Blue Cash. You do have to meet like a certain threshold. I think like the first $5,000 isn't, but then you get 6% back at grocery stores, which is really nice. 6%. I'm talking, cash value. I'm not talking points. But that's one of the highest ones. If I look at for something that's everyday, like an everyday card, I wish I could share this out. I probably can somehow or other. See if I can change my. May not be able to do it. No. What I did is I wrote down a list of all these cards and what I'm getting for my everyday value out of them. So like the Citi Double Cash, I know that's a 2% card. It's pretty easy. You get 2% on everything you buy. The SPG card, like I said, because I value my points at 2.4 cents, I would take the SPG over to Double Cash. Now the difference is that, again, because some people they like cash more than they like, travel points, Double Cash would obviously be worth a little bit more to them than the Starwood points. So it all depends on what you're talking about. When I look through all these different cards and what they offer me, funny enough, I think the best all-around card is one that doesn't get mentioned a whole lot. Everybody talks about the Southwest Companion Pass, and not too many people talk about using their points on Southwest. What's interesting with that is if you have the Companion Pass, Chase UR transfers to Southwest. So it really makes your UR points a little bit more valuable. Let's say what do I value my UR points at? I value them at, I think 2.1. Yeah, 2.1 cents. So I think it's almost fair to say if you have a Companion Pass, your value is a little bit slightly more than 2.1 cents, because if you transfer to Southwest, you can get upwards of, an easy 3.5, 4 cents. So that's a really nice to have. So the Companion Pass gives you 3.4 cents if you just use a Southwest card or any UR card for that matter. The Barclay Rivals 2%. The Amex Everyday 2.2%. You get 2% on everything, and then you get a 25% or like 20% bonus, something like that if you have 6 or more purchases. So that's a nice perk to have. That really puts it up above most cards at a 2.2. Starwood is at a 2.4. Scrolling down through here, where are we at? Chase Freedom, 3.2% cash back. So I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, and the Chase Freedom card and why I love this card. And I don't even have one. But I'll talk about this a little bit. The Chase Freedom, I think, is advertised absolutely terrible. When I'm watching TV and things, it makes me want to punch the TV, makes me want to punch that woman. She talks about this is whoever came up with the marketing, it's a 1.5% cash back card. Like, you might as well just take the card and just burn it, because you're advertising a 1.5% cash back card when you have Double Cash out there advertising 2%. You have so many cards offering you 2%, and they're sitting there advertising a 1.5% cash back card. It's frustrating to me because that card is just advertised terrible. If you have the Chase Sapphire, the Chase Ink, I think is there one more, or is it just those two? If you have one of those two cards, you're able to transfer those points out, and instead of getting 1.5% cash back, you are making every single purchase, you're getting a 3.2% in value, roughly. I estimate my Chase UR at 2.1 cents, so 1.5 times 2.1, I get like 3.1, whatever. It rounds up to 3.2. So that card is absolutely terrific for everyday spend. I may transfer my Freedom over to it. The reason I haven't done it is because I do like those rotating categories, those 5% categories. But now that I look at this and I've seen it's a 3.2, I don't think I'm getting my value out of the Chase Freedom. I mean, Chase Freedom now, when that's a 5% category, which is another thing, guys, when it's a 5% category on the Chase Freedom, you have to look at that as a 10% cash back card. It's a 5% cash back card, but if you transfer those points out to, say, Southwest, you're getting 4 cents. That's you're getting 5%, and then you're making times 4 on points. You're getting basically 20% back on your purchases if all you do is use a 5% Chase Freedom categories and transfer those out to Southwest Companion Pass points. I mean, do the math. So that's like, when I talk about the points, different point values and things, it's important to know it's not always what it seems on the surface. There's always a lot more in depth, to think about when you're looking at these, different cards and different evaluations and everything else. The Companion Pass really just blows everything up and makes everything a way, way more valuable. So if you're talking a 20% cashback card, give or take, if you're giving a 20% cash card, if you spend $1,000 on a rotating category, or I think the Freedom Max is at $1,500. So if you spend $1,500, you're talking 40%. That's $600? No, that's not right. It can't be $600. 40% of $1,000, yeah, that's $400. You're talking $600. So you can see what I mean. If you just use your Chase Freedom card and you max out of your $1,500, is it a year? Well, if you take your Chase Freedom card and you use your 10% on your $1,500 purchase or your $1,500 category, you're going to be getting back basically a flight out of that. So, it's really important that it's not that easy. It's 7,000 on each quarter. Like, I'm talking to Nikita here, or Nikta, I guess, kind of correct me. He's saying it's 7,000 on each quarter UR. Is that correct? So, Nikta, 7.5. Okay, so 7,500 UR points per quarter on the categories. But like I said, do the math. It ends up working out. The Freedom and Companion Pass is going to be probably your most powerful combination of a card and redemption that you can get anywhere. I don't think you're going to do any better than that. If you're looking for something else, like I said, UR points, 2.1%. So the Chase CSP versus the SPG card, one of the great debates that you read about every so often. And then we'll talk about the city thank you points too. Chase CSP on restaurants and travel are going to give you in value a 4.2% cash back value. I figured it out, 2.1 cents per point, 2 points per dollar, 4.2% on restaurant and travel. Starwood, of course, 2.4. But on everything else, the CSP is going to give you 2.1. Starwood gives you 2.4. So Starwood wins as an everyday card, but if you're looking at your different categories, restaurants, travel, things like that, if you spend a lot of money there, Chase CSP would probably win out. And then the thank you cards, almost all the thank you cards are the same. This is what really threw me off because I read that survey, and somebody might have to type in a chat here, but I might be completely missing something. A lot of people love the Prestige as an everyday card. Makes no sense to me at all. I look at 3.2% on restaurants and entertainment, which is not good. And then I'm talking 1.6% cash back on everything else. So I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm missing something or why people would be choosing the Prestige over the Chase Sapphire or the SPG card. SPG card, I'm telling you, for being a card that's very simple and very upfront, it's an absolutely terrific card to have. That's or terrific card to use. And I love SPG. So Dave and I, we kind of had that conversation going on a little bit. I love SPG way more than I love UR points. I love the hotels more. I love the ability to transfer out to additional airlines. I love the service. I love everything about Starwood. And I think UR points are overrated. That's just me. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think UR points are quite worth what people think they are. It's different when you're talking about the Companion Pass on Southwest because there's certainly a tremendous value there. But I think, in my opinion, UR points are overrated. I'd rather have the SPG points. But when I look at the ability to earn UR points versus earn SPG points, it's a lot easier to earn UR points. And if they're even close in value, UR points is probably the better program to go with. I mean, I have 5% categories to earn UR points. I have the 1.5% now on the Chase Freedom where I'm earning UR points. The CSP where you get 2% here and there. The Chase Inc. where I'm getting 5% back on my utilities, and different methods are there. So there's a lot of ways to earn UR points, and therefore I think the value goes up some. SPG points are straightforward, and so you're not an idiot for loving. There's a lot of people that love UR points way more than SPG points. A lot of people love UR points. So I don't think there's a right or wrong here. It's just what you prefer. I prefer I would take a Starwood property over a Hyatt property any day of the week. I've never been a fan of Hyatt. I don't like Hyatt Regencies. I don't like anything that they have. I prefer, a nice Sheraton. Not Sheraton. Well, Sheraton, they have a couple nice ones, but a nice Westin, for instance. City thank you points, not as valuable. You can't earn them that well. The transfer partners aren't anything to cry home about. What do I value those? I value those at 1.6 cents. They're just, like I said, they're just tough to have. What they are nice for is some of those, W's. Some of those properties where the points you can use points from UR and SPG and City Thank You points. I love those combinations there. So that's where you get some really good value out of it. And then, like I said, with the American Express MR points, that's the hot topic now that everybody has the new Platinum card for the 100,000 point personal offer. That card, those points are nice for a number of things, but the Avios, British Airways, that's a great redemption. Singapore Suites, you can kind of pull all your points together to make some of that cost go down. That's a great redemption. And even using Avios to book Singapore Suites, like a domestic flight, I don't think you could do Singapore Suites, but you could do like Singapore business class, maybe. I'm not sure where they have them, but maybe a New York to LAX route, something like that. You can get some decent deals there. So there's a lot of ways to value your points and make the most out of them. People watching recording can't quite see the chat going on the side, but we do have a great discussion going on about different hotels and just what's nice, what's not nice. It's such a topic, and I think that also goes in a lot of where your point evaluations are. Like Dave said, bringing up the W hotels. I love the W hotels. I think they're so cool, very hip. They are. They're great properties. The staff is always terrific. And like I said, I'm an SPG guy. I like SPG. I prefer to have SPG points, and I think I've done very well at accumulating my SPG points. I've, through referrals and friends and all that, we have 4 cards and all that, and we've used very minimal. So I'm stocking as much as I can on my SPG points. I love to have them. Keep a stack of those at all times. So I guess where I was getting at, and I'll post up this little chart that I have that I created with kind of where some of those values are in cashback. Oh, the Hyatt card, by the way. Hyatt card never gets mentioned as a decent card. Chase CSP does give you 4.2% on restaurants, but the Hyatt card does give you 3.6% on restaurants. Not a bad deal. Everything else is only 1.8% though, which is not that great. 1.8% doesn't do a whole lot. Alaska's 2% on everything. Nobody uses that as an everyday card. Not a bad look. That's really about it. So I think most cards, if you look at the value on what they give you per point, most cards are going to give you that sweet spot of 2 to 2.5% on everything. Anything below that, really not worth it. Here's something that I thought was a little bit funny. When I looked up the Hilton, American Express, and the Hilton City, American Express gives you restaurants, gas, and supermarkets at 3% cash back in value, which people make fun of Hilton, like, never go there. They give you 6 points per dollar spent on restaurants, gas stations, and supermarkets. So 6 points a dollar really adds up. I think it has a lot of value there that a lot of people don't look at. 3% is nothing to scoff at. So it's still not as good as the CSP or some of those other cards, but it does beat the SPG card, believe it or not, in that category. But it only does 1.5% on everything else, so that hurts the value a lot. But like I said, the funny thing is that American Express has that bonus category. The Citi card does not. Everything is 1.5% with Citi. So if you have both, American Express is the better card to use in that situation. But like I said, when I talk about points, and when you look at these points, you can't just look at the point value itself and say like Citi sucks, or not Citi, but Hilton sucks because it's they're worthless. It's a joke. It is. But when you're getting 6 points per dollar at restaurants, now you have to consider that. You have to bring that kind of stuff into consideration. That's why the Freedom Unlimited, in my opinion, is like the single best card to have. If I had to have one card in my wallet I had to put all of my spend on, I love this. I love my SPG. It's up there as well. But if I'm looking strong, straight at percent cash back, the Freedom Unlimited at 3.2 on every single purchase I make, that's a great deal to have. You don't have to worry about categories. You don't have to confuse yourself with having a stack of cards in your wallet. 3.2% on everything holds a lot of value there. So, I hope that kind of makes a little bit of sense on my point of evaluation discussion. Cleared air a little bit on how I look at things, how I look at things, how I view them, and where I go for when it comes to spending my spend on cards. Typically, I don't know if I have my wallet here. My wallet consists of CSP, SPG, and the Platinum card. Why do I carry the Platinum card? People are asking. Nobody's asking it actually, but I wanted to tell you anyways. I carry the Platinum card because it gives you roadside assistance. Well, if it was visible, then that sucks. I'm going to have to delete this whole recording. I carry the Platinum card because of roadside assistance. That's an absolute great perk to have if you need it. If something happens to my car, I can get it towed 10 miles for free. So why not have it? If I run out of gas, bam, free gas. No reason not to keep that card on you at all times, just for that perk. So that's why I keep the card on me at all times. And it's a cool card. So why would you not? Those reasons alone. Man, I really hope that card number was not visible because I don't know what I'm going to have to do. I might have to delete this recording. We'll have to see. Anyways, it's not visible right now, so we'll continue on with the show. I wanted to talk about the Freedom Unlimited. I kind of already discussed a lot about it. Yeah, I could trust all of us. Sure can. Maybe the handful of people typing in the chat, but not so much the 100 people who watched the recording that I have no idea who they are. I kind of discussed a lot about the Freedom card already. But just kind of where I stand with it. It's advertised terrible. The Freedom Unlimited now I'm talking about. It's advertised terrible. I think if anybody can kind of in the chat, if you guys can tell me, when you're sitting there and you're watching TV, what about that commercial makes you want to sign up for that Freedom Unlimited card? When you see 1.5% cash back, what about that would be like, oh yeah, that's wow, 1.5%? I don't think that's good. It's just not a good way to say it. I didn't see what he said there. Yeah, okay, and I agree with that. I agree with that most people aren't like us. But that's even more reason to why you have to do better job at advertising it. Because if you're advertising this card at 1.5% cash back and Citi Double Cash is advertising their card at 2% cash back, why would I ever take the Freedom Unlimited card? So I just those. It's all true. I mean, you won't see the transferability on these cards. I just don't see why you'd ever get that card if you're not, you know, it's just advertised poorly. I don't know how they would advertise it. Um, yeah, and maybe it's just they're advertising toward the group of people that are going to pay our bills, more or less. Um, that could be that could be what it is. Maybe they're just advertising for those people who are like, oh, 1.5%, that's pretty sweet. Go ahead and sign up for that, and then they're paying the bills for the people like us that are getting a 2.5% return. It's kind of makes everything up. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. I just think it's advertised poorly, and I'd like to see it being advertised better. But I agree that it's just difficult. And maybe because of that point, maybe because it's difficult to advertise, maybe we don't see the Freedom Unlimited card last that long. Maybe a year or two, and it kind of runs its term. I can't imagine that many people who watch any kind of an advertisement on TV, and you're like, at 1.5%, that's what I've been waiting for. Like that's the go-getter card right now. It just seems silly to me. I would double cash is way, way better. But like I said, advertising aside, the card is really great because it is 1.5% you are earning. Okay, so it's not cash back; it's you are earning. So every dollar gets you 1.5 UR points. I don't know if that's rounded up or down. If anybody knows that, if anybody has the Freedom Unlimited, is UR rounded up or down? But let's just assume it's rounded down. It doesn't really matter. I guess I'm talking like a single point. If you have that Freedom Unlimited, you're earning 1.5% UR, which is worth 2.1 cents. So you're getting a 3.5%, 3.2% on every single purchase that you make, and you have flexibility with the UR points. So not only are you getting your value out of in terms of money that you're going to see eventually when you transfer to Southwest or Hyatt or any of these, a couple of their other ones, Avios, but you see the value in terms of the transferability, which is really nice too. So as I think the Freedom Unlimited is one of the better cards out there. I don't know, I don't know how many people, especially even in the forum or whatever Reddit, how many people actually keep track of rotating categories and try to max things out accordingly. It does seem like there's a good number of people that do it. It just seems for me that it's just like too much work and too much maintenance to take care of all that stuff. So I don't really keep track of all the different rotating categories. If I know that, say, gas stations are 5% on the Freedom, I'll take the Freedom card, put it in my wallet, and use it up. But I don't go out of my way to make sure I put every single dollar on rotating categories and things. So for me, I like it simple. I like to have one or two cards where I can put generally all my spend on, and that's why I like the CSP and the SPG. I use the CSP for dining. I use that everywhere I go for restaurants, and I use my SPG for my everyday spend, just because I see value in both programs. I earn them pretty regularly in both programs, and I like the American Express deals, the Amex offers or deals, whatever they're called. Those are really, really nice too. This year's kind of sucked. I don't know if anybody's really paid much attention to it, but the Amex deals have been really subpar this year as compared to previous years. It seems like they were a lot better a couple years ago and even last year, but who knows? Maybe some stuff will come around. And then no, I don't even buy Visa gift cards and grocery stores when they're 5%. I really slack. I don't know why. I don't really manufacture spend much. Do a little bit to meet some minimum spends. I'm going to have to. I've got the 3K Platinum. I've got 2.5K on my Fairmont card, and I've got another $500 to do on the IHG card. So I still have a lot of manufacturing spend to do this time around, but I don't really do too much. But you kind of see with where I'm talking about and that Freedom Unlimited card why the value I think is poorly advertised, but why the value is there. I think you can definitely make good use of the Freedom Unlimited card, and if you have the CSP or Ink, which I really hope that every single person here does, it's definitely a nice card to have. It's very valuable. So I would recommend product changing over to it. Does it offer a sign-up bonus? That's still... Usually I know everything, and I don't know everything about that Freedom Unlimited card. Does it offer any kind of a sign-up bonus, or is it just straight, here's the application? I have to imagine it offers something, maybe $100, $150, something like that. $150, yeah, I've kind of figured. So, yes, see, no, see, there you guys go again. There you guys go again. Garvey there says 15K UR points, and then, what's it, Andy? Is that his name, Andy? Saying $150. That's exactly my point. 150K UR or 15K UR is much more valuable than $150. You're talking more like $300 cash back. So, oh, do you really? You work for Chase? No kidding. So yeah, 15K UR closer to $300 cash back. So that's a really nice offer for a card. Not bad. That offer might go up, kind of will fluctuate probably a little bit over the course of the next year. We'll, see that and kind of see that out. So being 9:42, I usually open up to questions at this time. So if you guys haven't watched the show, usually the first 20 minutes I cover my one topic, the next 20 minutes I cover the next topic, and the last 20 minutes I kind of open it up to questions or kind of like a free for all, whatever you guys want to talk about. Feel free to mention it in the chat. And if anybody wants to jump on the air with me, feel free to do that. Just shoot me a message on Reddit with your Twitter name. I get too many people that are spamming, and I don't like to have that. So I saw somebody ask the question of maybe a little bit ago. My parents want to go to Hawaii. What card should I get? And that's very easy. What card should they get? That's a very easy question. They should get the Chase Sapphire. Or, yeah, the Chase Sapphire is the only card. Chase Sapphire, 2 tickets round trip to Hawaii. I mean, you're not going to beat that. Transfer the UR points over to Korean. You're going to want to look up the article. Loophole Travel, put a little plug in for him. He has an article about it. But yeah, you take 50,000 UR points, you transfer those over to Korean Airline miles. That gets you 2 round trip tickets to Hawaii with a stopover and an open jaw. So it's an absolute insane deal. It's the best offer pretty much in all of cards besides the Companion Pass. But I definitely highly recommend it. You can also transfer 40,000 SPG points. So for 40,000 SPG points, you are going to earn 2 round trip tickets to Hawaii with a stopover and an open jaw. That is, man, it just blows my mind that that's even a possibility. I think that's like one of the silliest things, that you can go to Hawaii for 2 people for 40,000 points. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, anything else to bring up in the chat, go ahead, do it. I see some conversation going on about Italy in 2.5 weeks. I still have another 5 months. We don't go until the off season peak, because that's just who I am. I always like to get the most for my points. So we book right at the beginning or right at the end of off season dates, usually a year out. So I think I booked that flight forever ago. But if I can, we're able to both go to, I think we're going to be landing in Milan, and then we're probably going to take a train down to Florence and stay around there. So I still don't have a hotel yet. That's my one thing. Yeah, I've been slacking on the we're flying to Milan because American Airlines flies direct. They fly New York to Milan. I think they do Rome too, but there's no availability. So flying into Milan and then just take the train down to Florence and probably stay there. I haven't done any articles lately. I've been slacking. I have an entire article written. I just have to add some pictures. I don't know what it is. It's not my. I have all kind of motivation, and then I kind of lost it. I got to get that back. I like doing it, so I need to get back and do it. I don't have any other excuse other than I'm slacking. So I have the article written on the JL flight, my business class flight from Dallas to Tokyo. So I have that flight written about. I just got to, like I said, put a few pictures in there, and I'll be good to go. What are we talking about now? Where are we at? The Hilton Florence. I think I'm going to be looking. See, the problem with Florence, yeah, and that is the problem with the points. I have a lot of SPGs, so I'm looking at like maybe the Westin Excelsior, but those are really expensive. That's be looking at 80,000 points for our 5 nights. They also have, what did they have there? Is it St. Regis in Florence? I don't know. It's a honeymoon, so you know what? When it comes to the lady, you kind of throw the miles out the door. It's whatever is nice, Gonna live it up for a week. It's typically what I end up doing is I end up booking stuff that's like way over my head in value, and not value, but necessarily, but in cost. And I don't know why. I don't really live my life that way, but I think that's why I do it, because I can't afford to stay at the St. Regis in Florence for 5 nights, but I can do it on points, so why not? Plus, I have enough points to where, it seems like certain times, I can only take like a trip a year. So with all the points that I game, from throughout the course of the year, might as well live it up, book a business flight or first class flight and stay in a nice hotel. Blow it all in one big stay rather than trying to maximize your points and be like, I can get 600 stays out of my, my SPG points. There's no reason for that. I don't know where I'm at. 250,000 SPG points, somewhere around there. So it's just, like I said, using those points and trying to find the values and staying somewhere I want to stay. My biggest thing is that the thing I don't like, and I know, Dave, you were talking about the W earlier, and I'll talk about that. The reason I love W, the number one reason I love W, is because they are high-end properties, but they're not like, I'm super fancy and, I have marble floors and shit like that. Like, I like the fact that the W's are high-end properties. They're very nice. The staff is terrific. They're fun and energetic, and they're not like, oh, look at my plush chairs and marble floors. Like every other hotel, if you're going to be spending $300 a night, you're going to have marble floors and big Victorian chairs, and it's just like, it's not my thing. I don't like that, and I don't like super businessy, and that's why the W fits right in with what I like, because it's fun, it's energetic, and it's super nice. Yeah, so like exactly when you look at like the Hyatts in Tokyo, we stayed at the Andaz. Like I would take the Andaz any day over the Park Hyatt. It's just not my thing. I like the laid back feel, and I met with the marketing manager for the Andaz. I met with her, and she kind of took us around a little tour and everything. And it's funny because a lot of people we don't really know. I don't think you really realize like the design and how much work goes into these hotels. I always try to meet with the marketing manager or somebody like that every hotel I go to, just so I can talk to them and kind of get a good sense of like what the hotel, some of the background and the history and things. So like the Andaz in Tokyo, there's 2 different designers who design the entire hotel. And it's kind of cool because, some of the things you don't pick up on, but not only that, but like just the feeling that they go for. So they're very clear, like when they come to Andaz properties, they want you to feel like you're not in a hotel, but you're more in somebody's, like your buddy's house, like you have the bedroom, a nice bedroom, kind of a feel, not so much of a hotel room. And then the lobbies and all the restaurants and everything else are just a lot more friendly and open, and not, it's all kind of like even the front desk in the Andaz in Tokyo. You don't have a front desk where you go in and check in and you stand in line there. You have a big table. It's a wooden, big slab of wood, and they sit you down at the table, and it's just like the community area where a lot of people are sitting around and everything, and that's where they check you in at. And it's just, they do that kind of stuff to kind of give you that homely feel and a little bit more personable. And it's just things like that are really neat, and a lot of the stuff that goes into the designing things, which is why I love staying in those kind of properties. I love talking to managers, the marketing managers, and get a sense for that. The W in the French Quarter in New Orleans, I met with her as well. And that was really neat to talk to her and kind of go over a lot of the design elements that went into the W French Quarter, because the W's are just so unique when it comes to design. and all the work that goes into them. So they're really cool to hear about and get to talk to people about. Where are you from? Which area? Opening day? You were there opening day? New Orleans or Hawaii? Baton Rouge, huh? Again, got a number of people down there actually. I met up with the moderator now is Seth. Met up with him, and BR teacher. He's from the area. I met up with him when I was down there. We had a nice dinner and just kind of talked points and things. I love when I go down there and I meet up with people. Or not just necessarily there, but I love when I go anywhere and meet up with people. Even when I was in Japan, I met up with one of the guys from the forum, and it's just fun to hang out and catch up and talk points, travel, things like that. So it's really neat. All right, guys. Well, I mean, it is a little bit early to wrap up the show, but unless anybody has any more questions, I can keep talking. If anybody has more questions, other than that, I might go off the record. Kind of like off the record conversations, because then I'm not like forced to continue going. I can relax a little bit, but we'll go ahead. We'll cut the show off a little bit early. For anybody watching, anybody maybe watching, I don't know. I have to see where my card number. I thought I had it covered up, but apparently I didn't. So I want to see where that's at. But if you are watching, we'll have to do. I'll be here next week. And do 9 o'clock. Don't have a topic yet, but we'll figure that one out. So be sure to tune in next week. I hope you guys had a good time, and we will talk to you guys then.